Hello and welcome to another episode of Awakened Unfiltered. I'm your host, Erica Barretto. Today we're going to be talking about self-sabotage because I feel like this is something that rears its ugly little head in everybody's life. And I think one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves is understand and recognize when it's happening so that we can break free from the patterns. So I'm going to ask you, have you ever noticed that just when things are starting to go well for you, you find yourself pulling back? Or maybe you find a problem in your life where you create a distraction and you start to move away from what it is you are trying to succeed at, where you start to create this narrative of doubt, telling yourself, do I even deserve this? If you have, then that is absolutely self-sabotage, sneaking its little ugly face in your life. And I think we've all had that at some point. And today we're going to dive deep into understanding exactly how to recognize these patterns and, most importantly, break free from them. But before we can do that, I think you really need to understand exactly what self-sabotage is. And self-sabotage is going to be when our actions, our thoughts are unconsciously holding us back from what it is that we really want to achieve for ourselves. And it's never going to be about laziness. It's never going to be about a lack of willpower. If anything, it's going to be rooted in fear and unhealed wounds, and of course, limiting beliefs. This will show up as procrastination, perfectionism, overcommitting to things, avoiding opportunities. And this is going to put you in that spiral of self-doubt. So, to understand exactly what that is and how it affects us, self-sabotage is really often linked to your nervous system. It's literally your nervous system trying to protect you from any type of discomfort. And at the same time, all it's really doing is just keeping you stuck where you are comfortable, where you understand the pattern so you don't move forward. So where does that come from exactly within us? How do we understand how that shows up for us in ways? And this could be a fear of failure, fearing that I don't know if I do this, I'm just going to fail at it because I just don't know too much about it. Then you have that fear of success. If I succeed, then, oh my goodness, people are just going to want more from me. They're just going to expect more from me. And I just don't know if I can keep up. Then you have that low self-worth and believing that you just don't deserve certain things in your life. You don't deserve abundance. You don't deserve love. You don't deserve recognition. A lot of the times this is going to show up because we have unhealed past experiences, old wounds that have created these protective patterns in our life that keep us repeating over and over. So I'm going to ask you to really sit right now and to really reflect and to ask yourself, what am I really afraid might happen if I succeed? And that's something you can ask yourself when you're alone. You can journal about this because you know I'm a big journaler, so I'm always going to throw a journal prompt or something of that nature in these podcasts because it's to get you to get it out of your mind and to put it on paper so that you can see it, so that you can really work through it. How to recognize your patterns and that inner dialogue, understanding the harsh words that come from our inner dialogue that'll tell us that we're not enough, and it'll make us doubtful and minimizing our achievements. So it's all about really understanding those behavioral cycles. Understanding, okay, do I start different projects and then I stop it? And I'm not talking about like ADHD or anything. I'm talking about you overdoing things, trying to keep up with things, staying in that momentum, and then you just really lose interest out of nowhere. It's like, you know, you have to get to the finish line, but then you start making up all these other reasons as to why you can't. And that is self-sabotage right there. right there. So that's a moment in time where you have to pause, reflect, and really pick up on the pattern. And then we have those emotional triggers. This can come from people. This can come from certain phrases that are said to you that make you uncomfortable, that kind of trigger memories from your past. Maybe somebody praising you, or there being some type of opportunity where you feel like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do that. It's too big for me. But you have to think about that for a second, because if the opportunity presents itself, it's because you can. The only thing that's going to be holding you back from that is those limiting beliefs, those self-sabotaging behaviors. So start to journal down the moments where you can really pinpoint where this shows up for you so that you can really go back. You can look at it. You can go through the layers. You can go through the layers, and that is how you begin to break patterns. So you can start with journaling, but I think the first important factor about any of this is awareness. It is awareness. And you can't change what you can't see. And that's why I'm big on the journaling, because if you write it down, you can see it for what it is, and then you can work through it that way. So start to write down those self-sabotaging habits. Challenge your beliefs. Ask yourself, is this a thought of being fact, or is this fear talking? Ask yourself these questions. Reframe failure. Instead of fearing mistakes, see them as proof of you trying. See them as proof of you trying. Don't put pressure on yourself. Don't have an expectation of how things are supposed to come out. Practice that self-compassion. Treat yourself as you would a close friend who is navigating the same issues in their life where they are trying to grow, but they find themselves stuck. What advice would you give them? Celebrate all your wins, all of them, no matter how small. This is going to help you build that foundation. You're doing deep inner work. It's not going to happen overnight, so please don't rush it. Please don't rush it, because I know a lot of us like to have things done fast, and we just want to get over it, and we just want to get through it, right? But of course, that's the entire idea of it, is to go through it. To go through it, explore the shadow aspects of yourself. What can you do for yourself as far as healing practices, right? Because there's so many things that we can do besides journaling. We can meditate, we can do inner child work, we can talk about affirmations all day. Therapy, right? I am an advocate for therapy. If you need it, go and get it, because my therapist literally saved my life, And I'm a big believer in it, because they will help you and equip you with certain tools that you might not be able to find in a book. And I love books, I do, but sometimes you may need somebody to talk to. And therapy is definitely the way to go if you are really finding yourself struggling in the moment. So you can look at ways to rewire your nervous system, breath work, grounding, and just really building the foundation for success in your life. And again, it doesn't come with these big chunky goals. It comes with that incremental change of really getting yourself there step by step, and baby steps at that. Not taking leaps and bounds, but taking baby steps and really celebrating those small wins. The more safe you feel in your body, the less likely you are to self-sabotage or just sabotage the life that you are trying to create and build for yourself. This can show up in so many ways: at work, in your relationships, whether it's in marriage, or just partnership, whatever it is. This can show up in so many ways. And sometimes we don't even realize what's happening, because we can make up these things in our mind and it can feel like reality. It really can. It can feel real, because it is a real thing that we have experienced in our lives that will take us to a place in the past that will trigger these memories, and it'll feel like things are replaying. But in actuality, it's not the actual thing that's happening. It is the self-sabotage that we are bringing back to life that is taking us back to the memory of our past. Does that make sense? I hope this is making sense. I really do. But if anything, I really want to leave you with understanding that self-sabotage, it's not proof or it's setting anything in stone that's saying you're broken. It's just acknowledging the fact that you are human. We're human. We are imperfect beings. We're not meant to be perfect. We came here to evolve. We came here to grow. We came here to learn. So by meeting with those parts of yourself and having compassion, having awareness, and really working on intentional action, you can really work on stepping out of that cycle and starting to get into this place of alignment where you feel comfortable. It looks different for everybody. And it's about you just being able to be in this flow and being okay with where you are at in the moment. You did not come here to dim your light. Okay? You did not come here to hide. You absolutely have a purpose. You have a reason for being here, and you are here to let that light shine so bright and so fully. And however this happens, and you don't have to be somebody who's doing spiritual work. This is just you showing up for you in your life. In your life, whether this is in the workplace, whether this is being a mom at home, it's about you and your journey and for yourself. It's not about us having to prove anything to anybody and feeling like we need to appease other people on how we are perceived through their eyes. No, you're never going to stop how people may feel about you, how they may judge you. We cannot control what other people think about us, but we can absolutely control our own narrative and how we feel about us. That is what we can do. So don't let other people trigger you into a place of doubt or questioning your self-worth or putting you back into these loops of self-sabotage. Don't let them do it. Although we cannot control what other people think or say about us, we can absolutely control what we say and think about us. So I'm going to encourage you to journal because that's just me and that's what I do. So I want you to really look at this week. Look at your entire week, and I want you to write down a moment where you did find yourself self-sabotaging. Did you say something to yourself that was like, oh, I'm so stupid, I can't do that? Or whatever it is, however this may have showed up for you. Write it down. And then you're going to write down, how can I make a small shift in the future so that I don't continue to repeat this pattern? So I hope this episode resonates with you. And if it does, don't forget to like and subscribe if you are listening and watching this on YouTube. I'm trying to grow this community to be something beautiful so that we can continue to help one another, answer any questions anybody may have, because this is about your growth. It's about your self-discovery. It's about you learning more about you on this podcast of Awakened and Unfiltered. And I hope to see you next time.